that was good, and start to find your gestures. Cool. Thank you very much, Nicholas.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Great job. Thank you so much. Okay. Lucia?
Hi.
Hi, fantastic.
Hi there. Is it?
Yes, I am Lucia. Thank you so much for doing this. It's amazing that we have this opportunity.
Where are you from? Where are you zooming in from?
I am from Uruguay, but I'm in Florida.
Aha. And where are you studying?
I'm at Newark School of the Arts. I'm finishing my post-bachelor's.
Okay. I used to live
in Uruguay. And I have Dove Sono today, the Countess.
Okay.
Fun.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
comedy. This will be our first one in a for most people, non-mother tongue, but off we go.
Okay. E Susanna non vien. Sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta. Da quanto ardito il progetto mi par, e ad uno sposo si vivace e geloso. Ma che mal c'è, cangiando i miei vestiti con quelli di Susanna e suoi con miei, al favor della notte. O cielo, a quale mio stato fatale io son ridotta da un consorte crudel, che dopo avermi commisso inaudito di infedeltà, di gelosia, di segno, prima amata, indi offesa e al fin tradita, fammi or cercar da una mia serva ita. Dove sono i bei momenti? Sorry, I forgot the lyrics. How can I forget this? How can I forget? Dove sono i bei momenti di dolcezza e di piacer? Dove andarono i giuramenti di quel ladro menzognero? Ah, se almen la mia costanza dell'anguir l'amato ven, mi cangiar la mia speranza. I've never done that before, sorry. So it's like taking it out of the music is so confusing.
Yeah,
La mia costanza nell'anguir amato ben, mi portassi una speranza di cangiar l'ingrato cor, di cangiar l'ingrato cor. Hacia almen la mia costanza, hacia almen la mia costanza, nell'anguirle amato ben, mi portasse una speranza di cangiar l'ingrato cor.
Okay, but she says dikanja, dikanja, dikanja. You know, she's talking about that change of heart there. Very nice. So now we're going to talk about how to take an aria as monologue. That's not for, you know, if you're translating in your head. So how many languages do you speak, Lucia?
Spanish is my native, but I speak Italian and English. I know some French and German, and I'm studying Russian.
Yes, so that's terrific. A lot of my students up here in Canada are multilingual. Some of them speak between 4 and 6 languages, and it's very helpful for them when they are singing in an aria, trying to act in an aria. They don't have to fully translate in and out. One of the things that I really liked about how you were saying the phrases was there was a sense of the way the sentence works. So that was nice. There was a little bit of a similarity to each of the lines and how they sounded. So I think that we can try to figure out how to work on that. This is 2 different sets of texts. We have the first, the recitativo, the E Susanna non vien, sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta, alquanto ardito il progetto
mi par.
ed una sposa si vivace e geloso. So that's exclamation mark. And in that first little bit, E Susanna non vien actually has an exclamation mark on the end of it. I think And then we have the next sentence. Sono ansiosa di saper come il conto accolse la proposta. I don't have it memorized. Period. But then there's alquanto ardito il progetto mi par e ad una sposa si vivace e geloso. So, and then exclamation point. So I'd just like to take those sort of three sentences and try to make them more specific. The first sentence, e Susanna non vien, are you happy about that sentence?
No, she's anxious. She's wondering why is Susanna not coming back? What happened with Susanna? I mean, did she carry out her plan? What's going on?
Yeah, Mozart said to e Susanna, e Susanna non vien, right? It's sort of, he says it in is kind of happy, but I think she's really like, where is she? She's not here. This is nervous. He could, my husband could come any minute. So there is in the environment here of this monologue. First of all, it's this is in the third act, and we're deep into the show. We're getting ready for the actual Nozze di Figaro, and she's trying to plot her way out of this misfortune that she's found herself in, right? And that is with Susanna. So why don't you take those first three sentences again and give a little bit more specific emotion to them.
E Susanna non vien. Sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta. Alquanto ardito il progetto mi par, e ad uno sposo si vivace e geloso. Oh, you wanted that in one phrase.
Yeah.
I messed that up. Okay.
We're saying it how Mozart said it.
Yeah.
Right?
Alquanto ardito il progetto mi par, e ad uno sposo si vivace e geloso.
There you go. Much, much better. So this this vivace e geloso, who are you talking about?
My husband, he's so jealous about everything and controlling.
Yeah, why is he jealous? Why is
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Perché? Why is he
Why
jealous?
is that? Because he is cheating all the time, so he thinks that people do the same to him. So
Yeah.
cheating people are jealous.
People who are in love are also jealous, right? So
Yeah.
the geloso is cuts two ways. Yes, he's cheating, but he in the end we find out he says he loves her, and we think she loves him. I mean, you have to go on to the next show to really find that out. But yeah, that was pretty good. The sono ansiosa, what does that mean?
I'm anxious.
Yeah,
I'm anxious.
exactly. So then you say that the husband is quick to be jealous, and then what happens? You say,
sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta. I am anxious of knowing how the count took the proposal, Susanna's plan,
Yeah.
to know if he actually fell into the trap.
and then you turn to this question, ma, che mal c'è?
Che mal c'è? Cangiando i miei vestiti con quelli di Susanna e suoi con miei, al favor della notte.
That's the end of the sentence, though. So, so you say, for those of you who don't know what this means, ma che mal c'è basically means,
Yeah, what's the harm? What is wrong? There's really nothing wrong about this. I'm just changing my dress with Susanna, and Susanna's with me. And the night is helping us to pass this.
yes. So the
Yeah.
la notte actually is part of that previous sentence. So it's all cangiando I miei vestiti con quelli di Susanna e poi con i miei al favore
Al favor della notte. Yes.
So that's one sentence. So I'd like to hear one sentence.
Cangiando i miei vestiti con quelli di Susanna e suoi con miei. E suoi con miei al favor della notte.
Yeah, that's how you get there. Even though Mozart that's
Yes, there's a rest there. That's why I had it. But yes, it doesn't make sense,
Yes.
like chopping it up
Exactly.
when you're doing a monologue.
And then she says, what does she say?
Oh cielo, a quale umiltato fatale io son ridotta da un consorte crudele,
which
che
means,
dopo aver commesso inaudito di infedeltà, di gelosia, di sdegno, prima amata, indifesa e al fin tradita, fammi cercare da una mia servaita.
okay, so what is, that basically is oh gods, what a horrible outcome I've been reduced to by this awful husband who, he's, you know, he's just this mixture of infidelity, jealousy, is denyo, and rage. So that's a classic grocery, I call it grocery list, where you're doing a list.
Yes.
Denyo.
This, and that to me.
Say it that way. See what that does. See what that does for you. Let's go back to Ace O cielo.
Oh cielo, a quale umiltato fatale io sono ridotta da un consorte crudele, come con un mito di fedeltà, gelosia, di segno, prima amata, indifesa e tradita, fammi cercare mia servaita.
Yeah, and that's also, I think, a terrible thing that she says there. She says, "I'm forced to get the help from a maid."
A servant, yes, right.
It's not the nicest thing.
No, I mean, she's still a countess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to try to find as much action and energy in the Countess as possible. A lot of times, both Porgi Amor and Dove Sono can be like these sort of like,
yes, they're very still.
Very still. They're very they can be sung as a victim, and so there's a very interesting thing about what Mozart does in Porgi Amor, which is the Countess's first aria. The climax of that aria goes up to an A flat.
Oh, mi lasciami morir, yes, oh, mi lasciami.
But she doesn't resolve it. She stays in the A flat and it doesn't resolve. That's because her life is unresolved. Then when we get to Dove Sono, she sings this very long aria about, oh gosh, where is that, you know, where's that life I once had? And then in the middle of it, she stops and she's like, no. I'm going to take control of this and I'm going to change the course of my life. And she does that by singing a big D con cha, and it's an A natural. Yeah. She resists, and then resolves G. That gives power. And then, of course, at the end, when the Count asks for forgiveness, it's all about a G natural.
Oh, wow. Yes, I haven't noticed that. That's great.
So you can find a lot of hints about things. I think the Countess, to act her, you need to try to find that she's not just, oh, poor me, this has happened to me, I don't know how to get out of this. You can actually find things. I bring this up only because the infidelità, di gelosia, di sdegno, I think she's...
Yes, like I had enough.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to try that. To be upset. Go from che dopo aver con un misto something.
Che dopo averme con un misto inaudito di infedeltà, di gelosia, di sdegno, prima amata, indifesa e al fin tradita, fammi cercare da una mia servaita.
There you go. Now, when you make these discoveries and then you have to go back and sing it, when we have that, right? That's the trick of trying to take this sort of work, this dramatic work, and then bridge it way over to where you need to go to. But I think you've already found some discoveries there in that recitative.
Yes, definitely. This is so helpful. Thank you so much.
Good. Yes. Excellent. Never forget that the Countess is still a young woman, and the Countess was in, the Barber of Seville as Rosina, and she, I know it's not related at all, but I always think of Rosina, even though Rossini wrote it afterward. There is this sort of sense of that Rosina is super smart. She was able to get out of that awful trap of being with Dr. Bartolo. And she was able to get the Count to fall in love with her through notes being passed. So she's really smart. So she's just one of those people that finds themselves in this terrible situation that she can't work herself out of. So she sings a recitative and a cavatina and a cappelletta. Get there. So that's great. Thank you, Lucia, very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was great. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for a fourth person, but if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, use the raise hand function, or you can comment in the chat. We'd love to have Patrick answer a few questions. I know someone said that they had a question. Carol, did you have
Oh, I did, yes. Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject you. My question was, I have an aria that is predominantly acting and a lot of repetitive words in it. It doesn't have a lot of emotional meat. So how would you make that as a monologue and emotional, so to speak?
So there's the two schools about repeated text. One is that you speak the text as often as it gets repeated. So like with the Countess, the di cangia ingrato cor, di cangia ingrato cor, di cangia ingrato cor, di cangia. Like you have to act it over and over and over again, because what you're doing is you're motivating the repeat of the text, right? Because that's what Mozart, Rossini, Bel Canto, Verdi, Puccini, well, Puccini a lot less. Even in the Stravinsky repeated text. So to read text, you have to figure out, say it over and again. Songs are like this. You know, they let the sun go down on me. I mean, he's a couple in that song. And they pop singers motivate the repeat of the text often with how they change the way they sing it, right? But with classical musicians, we can't do that normally, because the composer has dictated how you're going to sing it. As out of curiosity, what's the piece?
Venite inginocchiatevi.
Yeah. That's tricky. That one's tricky. What's the point of the aria, if I were going to ask, like the overall point of that aria?
She's dressing Cherubino as a girl.
So in this case, I would say that each one of those repeats is super important, because Cherubino's not behaving himself, and she's having to sort of tell him these things over and over, like stand still, keep your head up, put your head back, stop, don't look over her, you know, stop looking over her. So as a monologue, you could be speaking to Cherubino like he's right in front of you. And he could become your partner in the scene. I would also then say to find a Cherubino and put him or her in front of you and ask him to ignore you and only fixate on looking at their phone or an iPad or something. And then you are forced to try to get his attention, because the tactics in that aria are listen to me, pay attention to me. And the stakes are, if you don't figure out how to turn Cherubino into a girl, this whole plan is being blown. So they're like Venite in the Venite aria, actually, I think has super high stakes, because she's been told to do this, and the Countess like okay, I'm going to do it, and so you're following orders basically, and you've got to make it work, and Cherubino's not listening to you. Cherubino's not being helpful. So I would practice maybe with somebody else if you have a younger sibling, or if you have a partner in crime, you know, that you could do this. One thing we weren't able to do in this situation, a lot of times with my arias monologue, I ask them who they're speaking to. Oftentimes in arias, people are speaking to themselves in arias, right? It's well, like Dove Sono, she's not talking to anyone, but she is talking to herself. You always have to be speaking to somebody, you know, and, you know, this is great. That aria is great because Susanna is speaking directly to Cherubino.
Fantastic. Do we have any other questions?
No questions, really?
All right. Well, I guess if nobody has, oh, we have a raised hand. Inya. Did I say that right? Probably not.
Yeah. So I basically have a question. So when you're repeating text in like an aria and it's repeated multiple times, and I understand you're saying like to have a different emotion, I know for me sometimes it can be kind of troubling and kind of hard to place a new emotion on every repeat. Like, what's a good strategy for doing that?
Have you ever felt like no one was listening to you?
Yes.
Have you ever felt like, you know, pushed to the side and ignored? And you have to like come out and be like, no, I've got something to say. And yet people are still not listening to you. So sometimes with repeated text, you are trying to get the other person on the stage to understand you, or you're trying to get them to change their mind about the situation. Sometimes though, there's no one on the stage with you. And that's when you really, a repeated text is really tricky, because often what you're doing is you're trying to convince yourself. You're saying these words, I need to go out that door. I really need to go out that door. I need to go out that door. And then maybe in the B section, because the love of my life is on the other side of the door and he's going to be killed. And then you go back to the repeated, you know, to the da capo, and you're like, I have to go through that door. Da capo arias are really great for this, frankly, because sometimes it's like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then the B section is, but you're my brother. I have to return to, but I love you, I love you, I love you. And, you know, these repeated texts often are about convincing yourself or somebody else. So sometimes it's not about putting a different emotion to each repeat, but putting the same emotion and just raising the stakes. They're not listening to me. I need to say this a different way. They're not understanding me. If I said it maybe this way, they might, maybe if I lower my voice, they'll, you know, that sort of thing. So sort of playing with, in a monologue, you play with the tactics. Because if you're just basically screaming at somebody, listen to, you know, I love you, I love you, I love you. And they're gonna be like, okay, thank you very much, I'm going now. But if you're like, you know, I love you, there can be, that's a whole different way of, that's a tactic. So that's where monologuing your aria can be really helpful, because then when you get, you know, over and over again, 1 4 5 5 1 4 5, that you have to figure out how to repeat that, and you can change your tactics if that helps. So
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Fantastic. Do you see that?
How can we?
Yeah.
How can we sing an aria like Venite but alone if we don't have a partner? We imagine him. Yes, you can do that as well. Actually, when you are doing your aria, you should not be worried about how you're acting. You should be focused in your imagination on the people that you think are listening to you. So you can then, you can direct, like if you're singing Susanna's aria, De Vieni, you can in your mind not just know where Figaro is, but direct him in your mind. Say these words, he's gonna freak out, he's gonna pop his head up, he's gonna, and I'm gonna maybe see him a little bit. And you can control the other people around you in your imagination in a way that can focus there. So I hope that helps. I'm back. If anybody wants to know about McGill University, I'm doing an expo talk tonight, I think at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be talking about Opera McGill and everything that we do. We do there, we do a lot of opera up at McGill. McGill, most of our students, the majority of our students are actually from outside of Quebec. We have actually a majority of our students are international students, not just Canadians. And our tuition is Canadian tuition, which is incredibly much less amount of money than the United States tuition fees. So, and we also do a Baroque opera every year with Baroque ornamentation and period instruments, period tuning. We do another main stage orchestra, opera with orchestra. We do a third opera with orchestra. Last year we did 8 operas. So we did 3 big ones and then 5 one-acts. So we do a lot of opera up there. And I'll be talking about that at 7. So I hope to see some of you there. And if you have any other questions, you can always figure out how to contact me. I'm on the McGill website.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry. Can I ask you one more? What is your take on Tatiana from Eugene Onegin?
That's not a little question. I'm sorry.
I know, but like you're so insightful that maybe like, 5-minute answer enlighten me in that role.
So you have to decide, so the best Tatiana I ever saw was Mirella Freni. I saw her at the Metropolitan Opera when she was toward the end of her career, and she was, not the age of Tatiana. But I saw somebody make me believe that she was a teenager. The way she was so filled with life in that, particularly in the letter scene, in the Puschai Pagipnuya, that big long aria. That's a long aria. And it made, everything that she did was about this sense of youth and love and energy. And it was very, she was really filled with that. And then as she proceeded to mature through the opera and make the different decisions that she makes, she offered a great deal of contrast against how she first appeared on the stage. Mirella Freni and great singers like that knew how to give an arc of a character. So she starts out as one thing because she knows she's going to end as something else. And then you see that journey. And so that's the other thing about Aria as monologue. You have to know.
Change the color of your voice in that sense. I mean,
I would, as a young singer, I wouldn't really tell you to worry too much about that. I think the colors of the voice get played with as you mature. But I do think that there's a sense, the way her bearing, the way gravity changes. In a young person, your gravity, your center of gravity is very high, it's very up. There's this sense of lightness about you. And then as you get older, that sense of gravity definitely falls. I can attest to that. So, you can do that with your character. There are a lot of different sort of acting choices you can make about how your character moves and where that center of gravity is. And you can go from being light to being heavy. Also emotionally light to emotionally heavy, which a lot of characters do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Well, I think that is going to be it, but thank you so much. Please remember what Patrick said about visiting him at the expo. Wow. And we will see you all later.
Have a great day. Thank you.